Hi guys, welcome to Ian's Product Focus. What we're going to focus on today is IWS Inner Pots. So Global Air Supplies has been selling IWS again for the best part of 12 months, and we've brought in the 3 inner pots from IWS. What we've got here is the Aqua pot. It's called Aqua because literally you fill it with pebbles and it's a water-based system. So as your water floods and drains through your pebbles, completely saturates your pebbles and then completely free drains, leaving this area for your roots to come out. I think it holds about 6.5 litres worth of pebbles. It's great if you're doing multiple feeds in a clay pebble mix. It pushes all the oxygen out and then sucks new oxygen back in. Then we've got the culture pot. The culture pot was designed to have like a 60-40 in there. So you always put pebbles in the bottom first so it doesn't flush the media out as it's flooded and draining. And then you put your 60-40 in, 70-30, whatever media you wish to use. Remember, the more cocoa the media's got, the less feeds you're gonna need. 60-40 is absolutely fantastic for the IWS. That's why it's called a culture pot, because you put a culture or a growing medium in there and you've got pebbles in the bottom. Then you've got a 10 litre, 10.5 litre punched pot. It's called a punch pot because that's what we really used to do back in the day. We used to get a normal pot, sit it in a machine, pump it through, that would make the holes in the bottom, and that was a punch pot. We then went to injection molding because we're selling that many of them, and this is how we've ended up with this style pot. This is still called the punch pot. Great for just about any growing medium. I'd always layer these kind of pots with some kind of spreader matting. I'd always put pebbles in the bottom first. You don't have to do, but it's kind of an old habit of mine. And then I would be banging 60-40 in there, filling it to the top, feeding it once on 18 hours. When you switch to a flower, give it 2 feeds. When you put your PK in, give it 3 feeds, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Maybe tailor it off towards the end. So there again, you've got the Aqua, you've got the culture, and you've got the punch pot. What we've now got is the Trident system from IWS. This is obviously the outer pot, but it holds this inner pot. The inner pot on the Trident system in the 16 and 25 litre is a cloth pot, completely different to this. Works in a similar kind of matter. It holds the growing medium. There's no need to put pebbles in this first because there's nothing getting out of there when it floods and drains. Put your 60-40 in there, put your pebbles in there, drop it back inside the Trident. The root rods in the bottom lift the cloth pot off the bottom, allowing there to be an air gap between the bottom and the top. As it floods in, it will flood all the way in here, saturating the growing medium on the inner pot, giving you a nice even flood. A few top tips when you're using an IWS. If you're using a culture pot, I still like to put spreader matting around here inside. That's just to stop the little bits and pieces falling out of the pot when you're draining back and then floating around the system, sometimes getting stuck under the float valve and potentially causing it to stick. You do get pot filters sometimes. You put a pot filter in the pot, it will stop the media floating back and in and out of the drain system. If you're using 60-40, in my opinion, always use the punch pot. If you're using pebbles, always use the Aqua pot. And if you're wanting to do a bit of a hybrid, I would use the culture pot because you put so many pebbles in first and then you put your growing medium in. Seat them on the top of a system. If you're using a flexi tank or a big water tank with them, what you've got to remember, the smaller size offset inside the pot will mean it takes more water. So if you're using a punch pot, you can run with a smaller tank. If you're using an Aqua or a culture pot, you're going to need a bigger tank because they will take more water to fill the void between here and the outer pot. So it's just an offset of water basically. So remember, using these, make sure you've got a big enough tank to be able to flood these systems out.